So it's not even 7 a.m. here. I just finished Clair Obscur last night, Expedition 33. I finished the story, and man, it's all I can think about. You know, I put a lot of JRPG stuff on the channel. It's time for me to admit something, you know. My favorite RPGs always Final Fantasy IX, Suikoden 2. I'm very stubborn about this. Like if you've had something that's been your favorite for like 20 years, 20 plus years, it's hard to let go of that. But you know, I think just with everything, the whole package, I think I could say honestly that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is my favorite JRPG, turn-based RPG ever. And just like to quickly, this is not a review, this is just me highlighting what makes it so great. And we'll just go from like maybe like least important to most important. The graphics, right? The actual fidelity of the graphics, it looks very good. The lip syncing's kind of for English at least. But the graphics are very good. The art style is amazing. This like neoclassical France or Europe, or, you know, I don't think it's actually a specific country, but obviously very heavily inspired by Belle Epoque or France. You can play 1,000 games and there's not going to be one that really looks the way Clair Obscur looks. I love Final Fantasy IX, but you know how many games I've played, you know, as unique as some of those settings are in Final Fantasy IX, you know how many games I've played that are just medieval fantasy games? Most of them, I don't know, half of them. Clair Obscur is so distinct in its art style and vision. There's just, it's too unique to just gloss over the art style. You have the voice acting and the motion capture, which was probably the first thing about the game that really stuck out to me, because it felt like people having real conversations, talking in a real way. And like, you know, after the first boss, when Lune and Gustav are arguing with each other about the message that's like kind of carved on the tree, I was like, holy crap, they're like talking over each other. It was like a revelation. Like, why haven't video games been doing this the whole time? You know what I mean? It's so obvious, yet like I don't see that very often or at all. I can't remember right now if there's ever been other dialogue that was like that, but that really pulled me in and kind of made me feel so connected to these characters. And that on top of the great voice acting, the emotion they put into it, the subtlety that they put into their voice acting, and I assume motion capture. I don't know if every voice actor mocap their own character. I know Andy Serkis didn't. I saw that in an interview, but everybody else I don't know. The point is I was very connected to these characters. I felt the stakes and I wanted them to succeed because the voice acting and the facial expressions, and they hooked me. I bought into it. I suspended my disbelief completely. And with a game with this kind of art style and this premise, this over-the-top premise, that's such an accomplishment that I was able to do that. And yeah, the music, probably the most, you know, famous or I don't know. I've been singing in my head the Alicia theme song for like days now. I can't get it out of my head. And the only way I can get it out of my head is like get my fix and actually listen to it. And then, you know, maybe it'll disappear for a few hours, but it always comes back. The music, I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot about music. I just know it's beautiful and I love it. And it perfectly complements the game and the mood, and there's a whole range of sounds to like this almost operatic, you know, like Alicia is like almost operatic. It's not, but it almost is, and there's not as much like, I don't know what the term is, like bass or vibrato to where I would consider it opera, but it's borderlining on that. It's just gorgeous. And then you have like these techno beats, like the boss fight music and everything in between. Just, I love the music and the soundtrack. Gorgeous. And the battle system. I'm just listing things now. So fun, so addicting, simple, yet refined. And it's almost like, why aren't more turn-based games doing this? Because it's such a simple turn of the genre. It's still turn-based. You still have to plan out your moves, but it just keeps it from being a little too passive, which I don't personally mind because I've been playing these games for a long time. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't love it. And I think more games should do it. And I think that was underratedly, the battle system probably was why so many people stuck with the game. Not just for the story and stuff, but if the combat was like boring and like a slog to get through and you had to wade through it just to get to the next story point, I think people would have just dropped this game eventually, you know, without playing it all the way through. So, you know, along with everything else that was just 10 out of 10, so was the combat. And they had some genuine challenges in the game. And I don't think, as far as I know, I don't think I beat like every side boss, but I beat a lot of them. I would say most of them. There might have been a couple I missed, you know, that just kind of happens when you're playing blind and you don't have Prima Games game guide to help you. Remember those? So yeah, this game tends across the board. It is perfect in my opinion. Literally the only thing that isn't is just the lip syncing is off sometimes. And that's it. That's the only flaw. I've mulled this over because I couldn't fall asleep last night. I've mulled this over and over. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I can think of that is like not that good. It's like passable for like 2010. I don't think the lip syncing for English is very good at all. I still think this game is a 10 because I don't care that much. It didn't hurt. Now, if the voice acting had sucked and the motion capture wasn't that great, it would have been like, get this shit out of my face. But it was pretty good, you know, pretty good considering the lip syncing wasn't that great. Now, okay, so I want to kind of go into this article here. And this is an interview with the devs from GameIndustry.biz. Naturally, thoughts are already turning to a follow-up. Interesting. There will be another video game for sure, says Maurice. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Adding that it's a little early to, I'm saying it phonetically, that's why. Adding that it's a little early to say exactly what form it will take. I can't wait to dig more into the ideas that we already have for the next game, and whether it's a completely new IP or something within the Clair Obscur world, which they could easily do if you've beaten the game. You know what I'm talking about. I will be first in line for the new Sandfall game. These people have shot up my list of favorite developers just on this game alone, and I don't think that's a stretch. Plus, the team has grown up, has acquired new skills throughout production, he says. Many of them were junior when we started. We learned to work together. So I can't wait to get to the next project because we'll start from a more efficient position than when we started the company 5 years ago. Yeah, naturally, right? AA comeback. The success of Clair Obscur has led many to herald the comeback of AA games, a sector that has shrunk significantly over the past couple of generations. AA is where it's at, even if it's a harder category to define in 2025 because a lack of publicity changes budget numbers. These kinds of games didn't exist did exist in greater numbers about 15 years ago. And I think that there's some threads that the AAA industry lost as they grew and grew and grew. And, you know, I'm going to link the article here. Basically, this section right here is talking about, and this is what I was thinking about literally before I even read this article last night, just after I finished the game. This is what I was thinking about, keeping the team small. And, you know, basically he wants to keep the team small because they can be agile, and, you know, you don't lose that creative spark and that vision when you keep your team a little bit smaller. He does go on to credit like studios like Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto 6 that say, you know what, they can be a big studio and their vision is still strong and laser focused, but it's hard to do. Generally, as a rule of thumb, the bigger your studio and development team is. And I absolutely 100% agree, because last night when I was laying in bed and I was thinking, like, of course I want them to make a sequel, but I pray, like, I hope that they don't think, and they clearly don't when you read the article, but I was just praying. I was praying to God. No, I was just thinking, I'm being dramatic, but I was just thinking, like, I hope that they don't think they have, because of the success that the game has had and how well received it is, that they don't feel the need to go bigger and better, and, you know, just like turn everything up to 11. That's not what they need to do. The only thing, literally the only thing, that they have to do, whether it's a sequel, a prequel, a spin-off, an anthology to Clair Obscur, or a completely new IP or a new genre, I don't care if it's a StarCraft clone. The only thing that they have to do, because they clearly are a talented group, is just bring whatever passion that you had for this project, just bring that passion to the next project. That's it. Just bring that passion, and, you know, the shit will sort itself out. I think everybody can see that, but, you know, the industry, it's just like, it's just such a shell. On the whole, it's a shell of itself. And I definitely don't want these guys to lose themselves. And to be fair, it doesn't sound like they are, you know. He basically said the same thing that I just said, is, you know, they're not planning to create or make the studio bigger than it already is. Maybe a little bit bigger, like 10 more people or something. But what they want to do is to keep the team small and only keep them working on one game at a time, so they can really laser focus on that particular game. Anyways, we're hitting the 16-minute mark. I just want to say I love this game. I'm calling it now. It's my favorite JRPG of all time. I'm sorry, Final Fantasy IX. I'm sorry, Suikoden 2. This game has it all. It really does. And it feels weird saying that, but it doesn't feel wrong. So yeah, Expedition 33. What an experience. What an ending. Holy fuck. So good. I'll be thinking about this game for a long time, and it better win Game of the Year. You know what I'm saying?